Good morning, good afternoon. Hope you guys are well. Hey Jimmy, how you doing? Hey Mark, good morning. Hey Ju Marinas. Hey Ray. Ray, I will tell you what the weakest currency might be today. Maybe. What might be the weakest currency, I mean. Just before you ask that. Hope everyone else is doing fantastic. This is going to be the last one for the week, the last live stream for the week. Tomorrow is Good Friday, so wishing anyone who is celebrating or observing the Good Friday and the Easter weekend a good Easter weekend and Good Friday. If you are on the session, do drop a message and say hi, especially if you're new. Do let me know where you're joining us from. The link for the Discord channel is there. If you haven't, I think most of you have, but if you haven't already, do make sure you join us on Discord. And if you have any questions at any point in time, please feel free to put it into the chat and let me know. And the other thing to do is to remember to click that like and subscribe button for this video and the channel if you haven't already. Hey Amthal, how are you doing? Good morning. Hey Linley. Linley must be really happy with the, I think you did the yen yesterday, right? Must be really happy with the yen. We'll give it one more minute before we get going. I was going to say something as well. What was I going to say? I forgot. Well, yeah, it'll come to me again if I remember or when I remember. For all the regulars, a big welcome back. Thank you again for taking the time out to join me on this daily market analysis. With that, a quick disclaimer: any information contained on this webinar should not be construed as advice and is presented as educational material only, so please do your own due diligence, as the contents of this webinar are not intended to be a recommendation to trade a financial product. And please check your leverage risk and manage your trade psychology, as your objectives, financial situation and needs has not been considered, and you should consider its appropriateness to your circumstances. Linley did 60 pips on the US yen yesterday. Very nice, very well done. I think I caught about 30 to the downside, and then I got out and then I sent out to you guys in the Discord channel that might see further downside, but it was going to retrace, and it did retrace. It's sitting right across now. Again, the Bank of Japan probably did a bit of a fakie, right? They were meeting. I'll tell you more about that shortly. But yeah, it looks like they did a bit of a fakie to the markets. Caused a bit of a spike to the downside before retracing halfway and sitting right across. Good morning, Pips Apprentice. How are you doing? For anyone else who got onto the yen, I think BL got onto the yen, if I remember correctly. I think BL got onto that. But for anyone else who got onto the yen or any other trades, do share it into the chat and let us know. It's always good to share any winning stories. If you have any losing or not so good trades, you can share that as well. We can do a quick review of those setups as well. Okay. Oh yeah, Jimmy did it. Jimmy did 40 pips on the yen. It wasn't BL, it was Jimmy who did the 40 pips on the yen to the downside. Very, very nice. Now, take that away. Looking at the news and what has happened since the last time we spoke. Scroll back a bit, nothing much in terms of news, but yesterday I have to scroll down, I have to click a little bit here. Where was it? There we go. Okay, so this was what happened at about 21 hours ago. So slightly after our live stream, there was a news that came out that said the BOJ and the Ministry of Finance, I can't remember what FSA short for, was the news came out that the BOJ and Ministry of Finance and FSA were to hold a meeting to discuss international financial markets at 09:15 GMT, right? I think that was 5 p.m. 5:15 p.m. GMT plus 8. So what happened there was that, where was it? Okay. Why is that there? Okay. What happened there was with that news, immediately the yen was at 151.78. That was at 5, yeah. So it went within the hours, shot right down. It shot right down to as low as 151. Couldn't break that round number and bounced back up. I think at that point, I was saying, yeah, it looks like it might go a bit lower, but it's going to retrace. It did retrace, and if you look at it from that overall move to the downside, it came right back up to that 50%, and it's sitting at that 50% of that move. All right, it's retraced to 50% of that move, and it's sitting right there. Why did it retrace? Why didn't we see a big continuation to the downside? Is as much as they announced that they were meeting, right? They were meeting to discuss about international financial markets. The result of the news, I have to click again. What was it? The result of the news was that, I'll do that. Okay, the result of the news was that the top currency diplomat Kanda said he exchanged views on financial markets with the BOJ. It was a verbal intervention, no big intervention, verbal intervention that, this is from, I don't know who that guy is, but verbal intervention that markets were to test, right? Kanda again said, BOJ official said that if forex market moves affect economy, price trends, central bank would respond through monetary policy, i.e. intervention. But have they done it? No, they haven't. It was just a meeting that says that, hey, if it happens, we will do it, or we could, or we would do it. And that's why we saw meeting smash down. Did not continue on with a intervention or announcement of intervention, went right back up halfway, and it's sitting there. I think the strength on the dollar might push it back up again. Okay, one thing you should note, I go to the H4 or even the daily time frame, is that this was, where was it? Okay, at that point in 22, when the Bank of Japan somewhat had that intervention, right, in October 22, it wasn't announced. That intervention was not announced. It wasn't like, oh, we're going to intervene, bam, drop, right? It was, it looked like they did the intervention, it dropped, and then they said, hey, maybe, maybe not. Again, I think on July 23rd, 2023, they did it, but did not announce it. I don't think that was a intervention. I think that was the dollar dropping, and then we are here again. So it's not always the case that you're going to, or don't expect the scenario where the Bank of Japan will say, hey, we're going to intervene on the currency now, and then you can get to sell. It is going to be a position where, you know, you would have to be somewhat ready to catch that position, or speculative position to catch. Okay, I think if I look at this, just let me try to find something. Where is it? BOJ, no, wait, let me find it. Intervention, there we go. So that was, when was this? Yeah, 23, October 23. So I do love trying to anticipate, trying to trade the BOJ intervention. Right, this was in August 16, 2023, when I wrote quite a bit about the BOJ, well, quite a bit about that BOJ intervention. And then again, so I was calling for the intervention. I kept highlighting positions where they could intervene. And again, this was October 22, right, where we talked about the intervention. So you can go check that out on my TradingView profile. I do like to write about the BOJ intervention if and when it comes around. And so Discord link is there for you. Good morning, Christina. How are you doing? Hey, Nav, how are you doing? And is it on today? AMC 1961. What do you mean? Is it on today? I'm on every day. Hey, Goju, how are you doing? Hey, Lydia. Hope you're well. Okay, so that was what happened with the BOJ non-intervention, but a meeting that happened yesterday, which led to the US yen pushing down from almost 151.80 down to that 151 level, now retraced just below that 50% level. I think that Lin Lee got in at 151.70 at about that point as it was pushing down. I don't know where Jimmy got in, but I got in a little bit later. I think I only took about 30 pips to the downside. All right. And then what happened since then? We had member Waller speaking 6 a.m. super early this morning at GMT plus 8. Member Waller came in and said there's still no rush. There's still no rush. Risk of waiting to cut rates is significantly lower than acting too soon, right? So no rush in cutting rates. Data warrants fewer cuts or later start to easing. Not very good news in terms of the rate cut scenario, and because of that, what we're seeing is that on the CME Fed Watch tool, we haven't looked at this for a while. The May is still at almost at 95% level, right? 1 week ago it was at 88. So likely because of his comments, it's pushed to that 95%, almost 95% level. June 12, we're looking at a 36.1% chance of no change. They might do a bit of there's a 63%, 64% chance that they will cut rates. I'm not so, what's the word? I don't want to say bullish. I'm not so keen on the rate cut anymore. I'm just thinking that it might even be a bit of a non-event or a contradictory event, a bit similar to, or the flip side to what the BOJ did. BOJ hiked rates, but yet we saw the yen weaken, right? So we might actually see, in this case, if it happens in June, maybe we might see the dollar, we might see the FOMC cut rates, but we might see the dollar strengthen. Maybe. Depends on the commentaries that attach to that rate cut decision if it comes around. But that's in June. We are only towards the end of March at the moment. So still many more moons to that decision. Okay, we'll leave that till it comes closer. So that's what member Waller is saying, expecting more data, no rush. The risk to cut too early is greater than the risk to cut too late. Following on from that, we do have a whole bunch of news released, but haven't seen it move prices too much. Later tonight at 8:30 p.m. GMT plus 8, we do have the US GDP to be released, 3.2% expected quarter on quarter. I think that that's possibly going to come out at 3.2. It does come out quite well. I mean, it's been doing quite well, so I wouldn't be surprised if it's a good number. Looking at, yesterday we were thinking that the dollar might weaken a little bit before maybe pushing back up, but I think that that's over. We might still be looking at that dollar strength coming back into play. and it's showing that right now. Okay, so those few news to pay attention to. I'm not too worried about all the others. Hey Angel Case, good morning, how are you doing? Then on to tomorrow, because we don't have a session tomorrow. You also notice that the Aussies, the Kiwis are on holiday, the Swiss, the Euro, the UK are on holiday as well. It is Good Friday. The Canadians are on holiday. The only one, not the only one, but the major one not on a holiday is the US, where they'll be releasing the core PCE price index month to month. It is expected to go from a 0.4 to a 0.3%. A slowdown in core PCE price index is going to signal a slowdown in inflation growth, which might help, not too much, but might help a bit on that rate cut scenario. And then late Friday night at 11:30 p.m. GMT +8, we have Fed Chair Powell speaking at the moderated discussion with Kai Ridsdale at the Macroeconomics and Monetary Policy Conference in San Francisco. I don't think this is going to be a big price. It might bring about some volatility, a little bit more liquidity, but I don't think this will be a event that's going to change the trend of any of the major currencies in a significant way. Okay, so main thing I'm looking at is the GDP tonight, and then I'm going to take a break. This week I've only got the yen yesterday and no other trades, so it's been a really quiet week for me, working on many other different things. And then Friday is going to be, I anticipate, super quiet because we have Friday, big holiday, and then Monday is going to continue on for holiday as well. So it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, a super long weekend. Going to be quiet. I feel that it's going to be quiet. In fact, it might even start being quiet from today onwards, because you're not going to be, unlikely that you'll be taking a position into a long weekend, hoping to unwind it before the long weekend, right? So I think it's been quiet, and I think it might continue to be quiet. With all that, I just remembered what I wanted to say is that for anyone who is watching on TradingView at the moment, we have about one more week on TradingView. I think I might end it next week, but what I've been informed from TradingView is that the live streams will end on the 7th of April. Right, it will end on the 7th of April. They're going to stop offering live streams on TradingView. So if you do want to continue getting my live streams, please jump onto my YouTube channel. Get onto YouTube, search my name. You'll find me on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel, and get the live streams there. Okay, so just do that. And again, please guys, help me out. Remember to click that little thumbs up like button for the session. Now, with all that said about the news, looking at the charts. Look at that dollar still pushing up. Take those away. It consolidated, did not retrace down as much as we expected. Now pushing back up. Previous high of 104.50 is back into play. It is heading towards that resistance, which we see here, right? Which we see here at that point, with the next major resistance at 104.95. This was tested on the 14th, on Valentine's Day. This year, 14th of Feb. So I do see this now pushing back up. I don't need this 38.2. We can take that away. Let me see. I don't need that. We can take that one away. I don't need that so much. We can take that one away. I'll keep this with that 50% to make sense of this support level. Okay, so now with that, then just checking this points here. Okay, I would highlight that there. Okay, why I highlighted that area there is I don't see a reason that the dollar could break out and reach that 104.95 level, right? No big news. It's going to be a quiet market. I don't think we're going to see a big 40, 50 pip move to the upside. What I think is likely or could happen at this point, I don't even need that actually. That one's done. We keep that. Okay. Okay. So what I see here is that it's approaching that resistance area. Right? Dollar index approaching this whole resistance area. If it breaks through, it could get to 104.75, but I don't see a big move with the major resistance there at 104.95. Okay. Most likely it's going to come up and sit around there. So today being the 28th of March, dollar index is approaching the resistance. Approaching resistance of 104.50 area. Needs to break to reach 104.75. Right, it needs to break out this to reach 104.75. I'm just looking to try and figure out, is there a big reason why we're seeing it push? No. Okay, so there we have it. Dollar index, we're looking at some strength coming back into play. Coming towards that resistance needs to break above this to get to that 104.75 level. Okay. Makes sense so far. Okay. Then with that said, looking at the charts, Kiwi, we were looking at a possible bounce from yesterday. Did not happen. Take that away. Double bottom is now cancelled out because it's broken that level. So take that away. No, actually I'll leave that there because it is breaking that level. This one we don't need, we can take that away. So it's breaking that level. Dollar strength is going to see it push back down, continuing on with that big downward move that we're seeing on the Kiwi. So what I'm looking at here is if this continues on, it's a small move. Yeah, I don't like it. I see the Kiwi coming down towards that support level. I don't think this would be a good H1 kind of trade. You might be looking at it on the M15 to trade it down towards the support at 5950. The question is, if it breaks 5950, we have the next big level here at 5865, and then in the middle we have about something there. Okay, so coming back to the current, I think that yes, you could trade it down, but it's a relatively small move, not an H1 kind of trade. But what you could be looking out for instead would be 5940, stop loss no more than 20 pips. Your take profit, you could go down to 70 to the downside with a possible hesitation at 5.9. Okay, so onto the Kiwi, we're looking to sell at 0.5940, stop loss 20, take profit 70 with a hesitation at 0.59. There we go. 5940, 0.59, take profit 70, stop loss 20. I'm happy with that. It's just a continuation of the downside. Then onto the Aussie. All right, that didn't bounce up to reject that level, so take that away. But that one I'll still hold. But this setup that we're looking at is still in play. If it does break 0.65, so it's pushing down now. I have this whole area as a bit of a support. Right, there we have it there. So if it does break down from this point, 0.65, 55 pip take profit, 20 pip stop loss, I think that's still a valid setup that you can be looking out for. Okay, so Aussie, not a test and reject. We're looking to sell at 0.65, 20 to 55. Yes, I'm happy with that. Okay. Then I realized that one thing I realized is that as the market's sitting in that consolidation and not doing too much, or relatively slow, I do tend to breeze through the sessions, quite many similar setups that we're waiting for. So if you guys have any questions at any point in time, please feel free to put it into the chat. Yen is getting super massive, too many lines. Let me take that one away. We don't need that. We have we know our levels there. Sitting. I don't need this big trend line. Let me see. Oh wait, I take that away for now. Trend line there can still be held. We hold that there. Like that. That still works. Take that one away. Don't even need that. I don't need that 50%. I like to try and keep it a bit cleaner, just because as we're streaming, it's easier to see. All right, so I think that if I can do something here, if you look at what we had on the H4 time frame for the US yen that we were talking about on Monday, right? We were saying that it's going to bounce around this area, not do too much, and then we're still looking for that breakdown at 150.20 for a big downside move. Hasn't happened though since Monday, but it is bouncing within this area, right? So back to the H1 time frame. Oops, dollar yen is still sitting there. I am thinking that as the dollar is pushing up, that is going to drag the yen back up again, right? Because the BOJ talked about it, talked about possibly doing it, but nothing concrete, nothing definite. So that move to the downside is done for now. Looks like the strength on the dollar could push the dollar yen back up. If you're looking at something like this, that's a 30 pip move. I don't like doing that kind of small 30 pip move, because it could get to 25 or 20 and then come back down. You don't want to do that. So it's sitting in that consolidation. From this move down, it was that 50% that is sitting below. think what you should be looking for is a test and reject, because that level is held. That level is held quite strongly, right? It might very well get to 152, but we're looking for a test and reject of this resistance level, resistance area. So I'm thinking that you could be looking at 151.75, stop loss 30, take profit back down 65. So within this, keeping within this range that we have here. Okay, and also, you know, it looks like a setup, a bit of a swing setup that we're preparing for in case there's an intervention to come from the BOJ. So what I'm looking at here is 151.75. So US yen 151.75, stop loss 30, take profit 65 to the downside. US yen 151.75, stop loss 30, take profit 765 to the downside. All good, all good. US 30, yes, we can have a look at US 30 at the end. Hang in there. Dollar index still pushing up. Waiting for that push up, test and reject back down. Yes, I'm happy with that. Then onto the pound dollar. Did not push up, did not test that resistance. It held. So 38.2 continued to hold right there, pushing back down. What you have here is a bit of that trend line, very short-term trend line supporting the move, supporting the previous move to the upside. Now if it breaks past this point, I wouldn't do anything because there is this area here with the next support and that swing low. Even if I took this right to this point, you see it, that swing low here from the 22nd of March. So what we're looking at is this area. If it does break this area, it becomes a bit of an indecision area. That's how I view it. What I wanted to do is break that support before we're going to see that further downside. Then we'll be looking at 1.2575. Stop loss 20, take profit could go down to 55 towards that next support level. Yep. Okay, so 1.2575, 20 pip stop loss, 55 pip take profit to the downside for the pound dollar. Sell 1.2575, stop loss 20, take profit 55. To the downside. There we go. Wait, I just messed up everything. No. Okay. 20, take profit 55. Okay, I messed that one up. I'll come back to change that. 1.25. Okay, sell 151.75. 30 to 65. Sorry about that. 30 to 65. There we go. Selling Kiwi. Selling Aussie down, selling yen down, selling pound down. It's a mega sale. Selling everything down. Dollar still pushing up. That was okay. Kiwi is trading lower. You could be scalping this down or short, small trade to the downside before that big move, possible big move lower. Aussie, I would be more keen on. Yen is sitting right there, a bit odd, but I think it's within this range, that's fine. pound dollar needs to break this level and also that whole thing. How am I doing? Okay, it needs to break this whole area here before we can see that break, that possible break to the downside. And then on to euro, we talked about this, consolidate. Did I say that? No. Consolidate and then push lower to break that support to the downside. It's playing out. It's taken a long time, but it is playing out. So we're going to wait for that. Keep that same view. For the euro to break that support, we'll be looking to sell from 1.0785. 25 pip stop loss, 60 pip take profit to the downside. We can take that one away, but we're looking for it to break the support and sell 1.0785, 25 to 60. There we go. Good morning, Diana. How are you doing? Better late than never. No worries. Then on to the US Swiss franc, the Swissy. We're looking for that to push up with that very tight channel, right? It set there, it pushed down a little bit and set right across because it followed somewhat of that pattern on the dollar, pushed down and set right across. That weakness that we were talking about on the Swiss franc yesterday did not continue on. So the dollar bias came back into play, right? So it's sitting right across. Take that away for now. That channel is done. Take that away. Interim level. Interim level there still makes sense. Now push that up. Let me just test something. $23.6 is there. I think we can keep that for good measure. Now, if that pushes, I think it's quite straightforward. I don't think that it's a trade, but I think it's quite straightforward that if it does push up past 0.9071, then we're going to see it get up to 91. But it's a small move up towards that resistance. We will still want to see what happens at that resistance. That previous swing level is there. The big resistance is up here. But I don't think we're going to see that happen too quickly. And then we have another interim level about there. So if it does break above that resistance at 9.1, then we could see it get further to the upside, but I think that it's not something that I would anticipate for today unless the dollar gains massive strength. You know, you could be looking at a 20 pip to 48 or 50 pips on the upside for the US Swiss franc. Okay, so 9113, 20 to 50. See, it's hit that resistance area and it's just hesitating there a little bit for now. All right, so we'll be looking to buy at 0.9113, stop loss 20, take profit 45 or 50. Get to 50. 50. There we go. It might very well, this might very well reject that resistance and retrace back down as well, right? Can't rule out that it could do that and then come back down, but we do have a trend line like that, so it might come back to a bit more appropriately is that it might do that and then like that again. So that trend line still holds. So I still do think that we might see some strength on the dollar index, maybe briefly. Okay. This one needs to break past 9070 first. Yep. Then onto the USCAD. Did not test and reject. Take that away. Push down because of the dollar. Pushing back up now, likely because of that dollar as well. Now at 1.35494, almost 1.3560. I want to see, I mean, you can see how it's reacted at this 1.3617 or 1.3620 level. We want to wait and see what happens at that point. There is CAD GDP as well to be released. Was 0, expected 0.4. Might bring about some strength on the Canadian dollar. But it's at the same time with the GDP that could result in now pushing back up. I think it will stay within this range. Hey Owen, how you doing? Again, better late than never. What's happening today? Everyone's is daylight saving. No, it's not daylight saving. Daylight saving is when was daylight saving? Daylight saving is this weekend. Yeah, daylight saving shift, time shift is this weekend. That's why you guys tuned your clock back a bit too early. US CAD, I would say that because of what happened here and here, we're looking at this coming up to that resistance level, and I want to see a reaction at that point. The last time we broke out, I mean, this was in November, December, that we were below this point, that we got below. We broke out in October. And back again in October. Stayed above it. I think that's quite a good resistance that we should respect. So I want to see it get to 1.3620 and look for a reaction there. Okay. Nothing on the CAD at this point. So I'm looking for reaction at 1.3620 resistance level. All right, and then onto gold. Oh, I'm yawning, I'm so tired. All right, sorry about that. Onto gold, did exactly as we expected. Breakthrough 2182 to reach 2200. Broke through 2182, touched, you can see right there, it touched 2200. 61.8 there, rejected and came, it's coming, looks like it's coming back down. Again, pushing down right now. You have this trend line pushing, that makes sense. Short-term levels breaking. 61.8 is right there. And then longer term levels. I'm just trying to see where it could get to. 38.2 is, this doesn't really, okay, so it's about there. Dollar strength continuation is going to drag this back down. Ideally, what would be the best would be to look for this move, a retrace, a test, and a bounce back up. So it's test and reject. So now gold, we're looking for it to retrace down to 2182 and bounce back to, well, let's look first for it to get down to 2182. It might break down from here if we see continued dollar strength, but it needs to come down to that level, about that 2182 level. Okay, then although Diana didn't ask, but let's look at Swiss yen. All right, we were saying look for it to come down to that support level and look for reaction. It came down. If I just shifted this right across, you see it came down and it's just bounced within that circle, now looking like it's pushing back down. That would still hold this valid. US yen is sitting there, Swiss franc is sitting there, so it's a bit support. That push down will be because of the US Swiss franc, I feel. Right, weakness on that Swiss franc as it climbs, as the US Swiss franc climbs higher, is likely to be the main driver to drive this down. This push we know is because of the yen. Right, this push down is because of the yen, but what needs to happen here is even if the yen sits right across, weakness on the Swiss franc is going to push this, to look for that push to the downside. Diana caught that move on the 15-minute, very nice. Let me guess, I think you got about 50 pips. I think you got about 50 pips to the downside. Maybe 40 something. Did you catch that? How many pips do you catch on that? I'm thinking just on the way, I think the way you trade would be, yeah, maybe about 50 pips to the downside. Let me know if I'm right. That's just a wild guess. And then Young Slinger is asking about US 30. Shot up. Oops. Shot up. Sitting in that consolidation right now. Take all those lines away because it's super old. Resistance here, H1 resistance here at 39,862. I mean, yes, there is a support here. I don't think you'll get to that point. I think that if anything, we just might see a consolidation, a brief retrace, maybe down to that 39,613 level before a continuation back up again. That would be my best guess on that, Young Zlinga. And pound yen for Lydia. Sure thing. Pound yen. Right, so again, yen sitting right there, maybe pushing up, but we're still looking for that downside. Pound dollar dragging lower. So with the pound dollar dragging lower, that's a story that should be the same story for the pound yen, but I would see that there are a couple of levels here. Oh, there's a level here that we need to watch out for. So even if it goes now, trading below that 191 level, could come close to this area where we've seen it bounce once and twice already. If it does come down to this point, we want to wait to see what happens in this area. And ideally, with the pound dropping, we would be looking to short it down 190, below 190, stop loss 30, take profit. We go down to 100, 110 to the downside. You might have a bit of a hesitation here at 189.60 at that point there. I don't think this actually doesn't bother me anymore. I think that the next level that would bother me, oh, it's actually quite close. It's about there. So you could even be looking at 120. If it does come down, I wouldn't do anything now. I'll only look if it breaks below this support level, overlap level, about there. This whole area breakdown, then I would sell it down. Yep. Okay. Hope I answered your question there, Lydia and Young Zlinga. Almost 60 pips, very nice. So Diana made almost 60 on the Swiss yen. Nev is asking, sometimes I show Bollinger Bands, but do you any other indicators in lower time frames? Okay. Question from Nev is, I use Bollinger Bands. Do I use any other indicators? On my MT4, MT5, I do have Bollinger Bands, and I do have this, what is this one? The MACD. But I actually don't use a normal MACD. I went into the math, recalculated, did a whole bunch of readjustments, and I have my own MACD that I use as a bit of more of a confirmation, not so much a signal, but that's it. All right, you can have, I also can put in PSAR and stochastics and all that. Those are all just supporting, but you should be able to get into trades just based on trend, support, resistance, good understanding of the economics and the bias, and then just planning out the trades. On the lower time frame, when I'm trading the news, when I'm looking at the 1 minute time frames, when I'm looking at the 1 minute, 5 and 15, when it's a news time, like yesterday with the yen, right? Where was it? When this happened, no. When this happened where was it? Thursday. We're not on Thursday. We're on Wednesday here. Okay. When this happened on the yen yesterday, I was down to the 1 minute and the 5 minute time frame. They're not so much on the indicators. The Bollinger Band there is really to tell me, right? So I didn't catch this move down, but as it bounced back up and then started pushing back down, staying within the Bollinger Band, that's where I would say, it's still okay to sell it down. I'm trying to figure out where I got in. So I think I did something like that. So I had my 20 there as a random level. It pushed down, and then as it broke past that previous point, I got in a bit earlier, 45 I think. And then as it was pushing down, I was looking to get into that trade. I think I took about there, right? And then why I got out at that point, there is because on the, where is it? On the bigger time frames, it was outside of the Bollinger. I anticipated a bounce, got out of the trade there. Okay, so yeah, I do use a bit less on the indicators when it comes down to the news, because indicators are going to be a bit slower, but I use the Bollinger Bands to actually tell me when likely it might retrace. Hope I answered your question there, Nav. So yes, Ray with the question on what is going to be the weakest for today. I do think that let me do that. I do think that the weaker ones, or the weakest one, could be again the euro, seeing it pushing down, breaking that level. There could be some weakness on the Swiss franc, but you see it sitting right there, so I don't think yet at that point. I do like the euro or the pound to be pushing lower. Aussie is coming close as well, but Aussie might hesitate somewhere in the middle there. So I do like the euro for that weakness for today. For next week, I don't know. I'm gonna maybe enter a trade today, enjoy the super long weekend on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then we'll get back to it and figure out what's the next weaker currency. And just a quick question there, Ray, put it into the chat or put it into the Discord channel. As much as you're looking at a weaker currency, what's the weakest currency for today? Why not consider what's the strongest currency for today? Don't ask me that question because I haven't thought about it. But yeah, just think about, not just the weakness, but the strength as well. Buyers on yen is short. Yeah, I'm still looking for that. It's sitting right there. Does look like that. There is some downside push. Alrighty, so yes, thank you everybody. Please remember, do help me out. Click that like and subscribe button from wherever you are watching us from. I am streaming on TradingView, on X, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitch, and YouTube. So do help me out massively, please. Click that like and subscribe button. If you have any questions moving forward, the link for the Discord channel is there. I look forward to catching up with you on Discord. If not, then I'll see you all next week. Same time, same place. Take care now. Bye-bye.